Hi everyone. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, I suppose. It's definitely not a how-to, but I wanted to talk about some of these medical things I have because one, somebody asked about it, but two, I was hoping that it could maybe help someone out that is suffering through the same thing. I guess I'll just tell you what I have and how I'm dealing with it or coping with it. And so maybe if somebody else has something, they could chime in comments and let me know if they've done anything differently or more or something that could be helpful to me or somebody else. Or they could maybe learn something that would help them out. So I'm all about helping. Anyhow, there's the cat. The first thing I'm going to talk about is my hypermobility syndrome. That's it actually has quite a few names. There's what it is Ehlers-Danlos type 3 is what I have. But it's just easier to say hypermobility syndrome. People tend to understand that a little bit more. Anyhow, what it is, well, I got diagnosed really late compared to a lot of other people. And cat wants to play. They tested me for so many other things first, different doctors. And it was finally the last rheumatologist that diagnosed me, but him, like the other doctors, he kicked me back to my family doctor, saying she could help me as well as he could, and really nothing's been done with it. She doesn't know anything about that, and I guess I haven't pursued it a lot. I've researched it myself, and I did go for a while for physical therapy. That helped a little bit, but I should probably go back because there aren't a lot of options with this. Physical therapy and some forms of exercise to strengthen you is probably your best bets. What it is people who are double jointed, like I was, still kind of am. You lose your flexibility as you get older. But it's not just the double jointedness. The reason people who have this disease or disorder, whatever, is because they lack something or their collagen is defective. And so everything that holds those joints into place isn't very strong. And that's why the joints are so loose and they can move a lot further than people who don't have it. And it's a connective tissue disease, like lupus and rheumatoid arthritis and some other ones in there. And you have connective tissue all throughout your body. And so that can be a real problem. For me, yeah, my joints hurt a lot. Not excruciating like some people, and I don't pop my joints out of place often. There's a lot of people with this disease that have dislocations frequently, and I don't have that. I have I forget what they call it, like sublex. Like one thing I have is slipping rib syndrome. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It's my ribs on my right side, and that's been going on for a really long time. And they kind of slip or pop out of like where they're supposed to. It hurts, but it usually goes away within a couple of days. So my shoulder, I have a little bit with that too, my right shoulder. So basically, I just, some days are far worse than others, and I just have pain all over. It's not just your joints, you have it in your muscles too, and it'll feel like a really you're coming down with a really bad case of the flu with those body aches, you know. At least that's how it feels for me. And a few things I've done, if it's really bad, then I'll take ibuprofen. I've been trying to stay away from it because it does a number on my stomach. Well, it actually just aggravates my GERD. And heat is the number one thing I found. So ever since I bought a heated mattress pad, that really helps. When I'm aching a lot, then I'll just go to bed and have the heat on that, and after a while I'll feel better. Otherwise, it's taking a bath, which is not always the best, or using my muscle rub. I use that a lot because it has a little heat in it, but it does something with your circulation to where you do it, and it does ease the pain. And then, of course, I have this kind of stuff. Lately it's been acting up a lot. So I've been wearing my compression gloves. I also have compression sleeves for my elbows. And who knows what I'm going to end up getting down the road. I have braces for each one of these because my wrist is really acting up lately. And I have one for this hand too, but this one tends to, bother me more. Probably because that's my dominant hand, but all of those do help. There's little things you can do. Now I have those fat, spongy things that I put on all my pens for when I write, because this finger in particular will really hurt when I'm writing, and so that really helps. And I'll probably in the near future need to get some other little helps, like for chopping stuff and maybe scissors, certain things like that. Whatever helps. I want to stay as mobile and, out and about in regular everyday life, doing my regular stuff as long as possible. And you do get a lot of fatigue with this. You're tired a lot. In fact, a lot of times you wake up tired, go to bed tired. And I'm just going to assume that that's probably because your body's, always fighting against this pain. So I found out that the GERD I have, the really bad acid reflux, is probably caused from this syndrome. And that leads me into two other things that were probably caused by this syndrome. The next one is my scoliosis. I have thoracolumbar scoliosis. So my upper and lower back, well, I have they go to the left. My spine, instead of going straight up and down, it curves to the left. Up and top, like near in the middle of the shoulder blades, and then lower down as well. And because I've had it for so long, now the spine is twisted too. That's been giving me a lot of problems lately. My back has really been bothering me. And then also on my lower back, my lower left, I have degenerative facet joints, which I'm finding out now too that that's probably caused by the hypermobility. And like my neck, I have a lot of neck problems because my neck is straight instead of, you're supposed to have a slight curve in it, and mine's straight. That I think was caused by my scoliosis. So you see how everything kind of goes round and round. The scoliosis in my lower back limit me somewhat because I can't stand and walk for long periods of time, or it just, my lower back will just hurt. That and bending over will bother it a lot with the joint, the facet joints down there. And then my upper back just hurts more and more the longer I stand. So I have to sit down, even just for a little bit and then get back up again. And that tends to make me slower than I already was. You know, if I have to do a whole bunch of dishes, or, you know, it's a day of running around doing errands, that just really wipes me out. So the last thing, though, is anxiety. Now, I had no idea that that was, you know, something to do with the hypermobility. But, or if it was, that it was maybe caused because you're in pain or can't do certain things, or whatever. But I just recently found out that it's actually something in your brain. And they've done scans and whatnot to show there's a difference in people who have the hypermobility syndrome and have anxiety, because there's something different up in there. So that's kind of nice. I kind of like that. I mean, if you got to have anxiety, at least, you know, knowing what's causing it, and that it's like, I don't know, it's just really a medical thing. It's no different than, well, all mental health, I feel, is a medical thing. You know, that needs to be taken care of. And if you need medication, then go on that medication, because I feel like it's having a broken leg or diabetes. You wouldn't keep yourself from the doctor or from medicine if you had either of those, right? Well, it's the same thing. But I guess I thought my anxiety was caused just by stress or whatever, you know, and turns out it may not be. And so yeah, that's that. And with my anxiety, I am on a medication for that, but it doesn't get rid of, what it really does actually is it keeps me from having panic attacks, because I was having not just anxiety but panic attacks, and the panic attacks are so horrible. That's really what that pill does, because I still have anxiety. I still have episodes, and little things like I'm forever shaking my leg, and my son calls it my Jimmy leg. There you go with that Jimmy leg again. And it's like, wow, you know, and, you know, I still worry about certain things, but it's not as bad. I try to talk myself out of a lot of it, you know, try to be more logical about things. It's like, well, you know, that's really not going to happen. And, but some things like the restlessness, you know, the best thing I do with that, when I'm just feeling really like I gotta do something, is I'll play a game on my phone. And I like to play word games, like crosswords and word searches and stuff like that. But I'll also play those, you know, like find the hidden object kind of thing, or the differences in the pictures. And that just takes my mind off of, you know, other stuff like that need to move around and do all kinds of stuff. So that helps me out. Getting outside helps. Sunny days really helps. I like to feel like I'm still a part of society, and I'm going about my day just like everybody else. But, you know, some of these things are daunting, and sometimes I'll feel like, oh, you're making too much out of it. And I am the type of person that will be, well, even if you're not feeling that great, so what? Go, go, go. You need to push forward, because there's just too many days you don't feel good. And what, are you not going to get anything done, and you're not going to live? And so I don't give in to a lot of these bad vibes or feelings or whatever. But I have to watch not to push myself too much, because I end up regretting it. So there's that balancing act there. Yeah, so I want to be able to do things, but I got to know not to overdo. Like, for instance, with the grandkids, I always want to pick them up and hold them and love on them and kiss them and do all that stuff. And I can do that. But if I do it a lot, picking them up and carrying them around, it just, my back is bad for days then, my upper back. So maybe I'll pick them up and sit with them on the couch, things like that. You know, you just got to modify. You can't, it's not that you can't do everything, you just got to modify, you know, and do the best that you can. And I recently joined a support group on Facebook for the hypermobility syndrome. And I'm really liking it. A lot of times I don't join groups with medical things because I feel like it's going to bring me down, or I'm going to focus too much on that, and you know, it'll mess with my head one way or another. And I haven't found that to be true. Some of these people have it much worse than me, and so I am so grateful, very grateful. And you'll hear complaints here and there, but that's okay because people need to vent. And with this particular disease, like a lot of them that, you know, on the outside you look totally normal, people don't get it and they don't understand what you're going through. But if you're in a group with other people who do have what you have, you know, it makes it a lot easier, because when you're saying, you know, this, that, or the other thing, you know, really hurts, or this is wrong, or I can't do this, and blah, blah. They know what you're talking about because they went through it too. So, regardless of the hypermobility, if you have any kind of, you know, medical issues, and it's hard to deal with that, I suggest trying to find some support groups. It could really help you out. And I'm going to leave a bunch of links down in the description box. I mean, if you're interested in any of these things I talked about, or, you know, maybe you do have the hypermobility, or you're not sure, or you know somebody who does. I mean, I'll put some information down there, but I don't know. I just feel like sharing really helps people out. I mean, even if, you know, you don't have anything like that, and you don't even know anybody with stuff like that, it's good to know stuff is out there, and that way we know. It's kind of like, you don't know what everybody else is going through. It's kind of like a backstory kind of thing, you know, like if the cashier seems a little cranky today at work, well, you don't know. Who knows what she's going through, you know, and I try not to be cranky. If I'm in a lot of pain, I don't tend to get mad, but I know a lot of people who do, and it's just a way of expressing it, you know. But yeah, I mean, I guess just try to be more understanding. Anyhow, thanks for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. Thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. It was nice talking to you. And you take care.